Adventure is waiting for you at Nashville Zoo's newest destination, Leopard Forest. Explore 4 lush habitats filled with towering trees, winding vines, and natural beauty designed to make you feel like you've stepped into the heart of the wild. Encounter the critically endangered Amur leopard. Say hello to DeBrazos monkeys, klipspringers, and colobus monkeys. And don't miss the return of the zoo's most iconic stars, the Maasai giraffes. Bring the family or bring a friend. Nashville Zoo's Leopard Forest is now open. Today on CityCast Nashville, it's time for our Friday News Roundup. Joining me is our executive producer, Whitney Pastorek, and Nashville Scene columnist and CityCast Nashville contributor, Nicole Williams. This week, we're talking about a new lawsuit just filed by the ACLU, why I'm surprisingly agreeing with House Speaker Cameron Sexton, and how you can celebrate Pride in Nashville this weekend. It's Friday, June 27th. I'm your host, Marie Cecile Anderson, and this is what Nashville's talking about. Whitney, Nicole, hello. We've made it to Friday.
Hallelujah.
We've got to acknowledge the biggest news story this week. It's hot. NES is asking folks to help conserve power during this extreme heat wave. So go on and help your neighbors out by setting that thermostat to 78 degrees. My dad would be so proud.
LOL.
Wait. Time out. My thermostat's always at 80. Does that mean I'm old now?
Wait. Yours is always at 80?
When I go to sleep, it's at 72, but during the day, it's at 80.
I have been really good about bumping it up to 73 during the day. I'm at 67, 68 at night.
Oh, yes. You are speaking my language. Yes.
Y'all, it's not because I'm super heat tolerant. It's because I'm a cheapskate. Last summer, my electrical bill did not go over $100 a single time, because I keep my thermostat at 80 and have fans.
That's great. Well, if you bump your thermostat up to 82, then I think that can even out my power usage. So thank you.
I'm also going through menopause and have hot flashes. So it does sometimes go down a little bit nowadays.
Well, so
Hi, shout out middle-aged women. Who's out there with me? High five. Fist bump.
Well, so what this means is that we just really need to be having more conversations with our neighbors, and so we can all work together so we don't melt the grid, folks.
Yeah, no melting grid. I can get on board with that.
Let's turn our attention to Metro. There wasn't a council meeting on Tuesday night, but Nicole, you were still very busy this week reporting for the Nashville Scene. You had a piece drop yesterday about a new study showing that residents of Nashville's urban services district might have been overpaying for some city services. These findings have left some council members shook. Nicole, tell us about it.
You know, property taxes are a thing, and that's been really big in the news lately. But there's this whole other thing that's been going on with property taxes that I did not see anyone talking about in the media ecosphere of Nashville. Essentially, Nashville, when the city of Nashville and Davidson County consolidated to form Metro in 1963, we had 2 taxing districts that were established. So you had the Urban Services District, which was basically the city of Nashville boundaries, and people in the Urban Services District were getting things that people outside of the Urban Services District were not getting, like fire services, extra police protection, street lights. And so people outside of the USD were not getting those things, and so they weren't paying as much in taxes.
So the idea was here that everything outside the USD was still kind of rural, and that people were out there, they had their own systems for how to do things. So
right. Like volunteer fire departments.
Private garbage collection.
Exactly.
So because they're having to pay for those sorts of things, they shouldn't have to pay so much property tax to the city.
Right. It doesn't seem like we ever really went back to the drawing board over the 50 plus years since consolidation to look and see, is that still the state of play?
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. So I don't know if y'all know this, but even if you live outside of the USD, you still get fire service. Like if you call 911 and your house is on fire, the fire department is coming to you anywhere in Davidson County.
So they don't stop at the railroad tracks like in Footloose?
They do not. That is correct. Yep. They don't check your address to see if you're in the USD, and they're like, sorry, your house has to burn. Fire service got expanded decades ago, but the tax rate for people outside of the USD never really got adjusted that much to address the fact that they were now getting these services. So last term, some council members who represent non-USD districts thought that their residents were actually still overpaying. We're actually paying too much in taxes, and we're not getting enough in return. So some council members last term were like, hey, let's do a study.
We love a study.
We love a study. Metro had a study commissioned, and the study was like, LOL, you're actually not paying enough in taxes.
Oh, no.
We love a study that backfires.
Yeah. And so the sort of the tax rate breakdown changed quite significantly this budget year. And so my piece goes into, people who are upset about that, people who are happy about it.
Y'all should really read the piece because she does a very good job of breaking this all down. But I do want to point out that it seems like what's been decided here is that the GSD is going to be set at 2.782 per $100. And the people in the USD are only going to pay an additional 3 cents down from the 33 cents.
Correct.
And so we're still paying more in the USD, but we're just paying less more.
Exactly. Because in the USD, there are still services that are not provided outside of the USD, such as
garbage,
trash pickup, and streetlights. Those are like the two big ones.
Who pays for the streetlights in the GSD?
In the non-USD areas, there are many fewer streetlights, but a lot of times you have just like HOAs that pay for streetlights.
Oh, that's what HOAs are for.
Yeah. Well, they're really just to police your neighbors and create like egomaniacal dictators.
If you live outside the USD and you either feel that you are paying too much or not enough taxes, email us at nashville@citycast.fm. Marie, what's the other big story for this week? Because I'm really proud to say that we were kind of right on top of this one.
That's right. Well, something that everyone's been talking a lot about lately is Nashville a sanctuary city? Well, so this past Wednesday, we had Councilmember Sandra Sepulveda on to discuss this. And spoiler alert, we are not.
We are not. Andy Ogles, Marsha Blackburn, the feds, DHS. We are not a sanctuary city.
We are not, we
promise. Breaking news, we're not.
And Marie, why aren't we a sanctuary city?
Because it's illegal to be a sanctuary city here in the state of Tennessee. But there's a new law coming into effect July 1st. This new Tennessee state law was passed this year, making it a felony for local officials to adopt or maintain sanctuary policies. But this week, the ACLU of Tennessee filed a lawsuit on behalf of 7 Metro Council members claiming that the law violates the First Amendment. Now, Whitney, what would supporting or enacting sanctuary city policies actually look like?
I'm just going to sort of echo what Councilmember Sandra Sepulveda told us on the show, and folks should go back and listen to that episode because she had some really terrific things to say. Nobody knows. Mm-hmm. It is written to intentionally be extremely vague and sort of just subject to the whims of our Republican state overlords. And so does saying immigrants belong at a council meeting, does that count as a sanctuary policy? Nobody knows. It's a mess.
That's
it's a hot
interpretation.
Mess. And I will point out, too, that some of the Tennessee state Republicans saw this coming, saw this constitutional issue coming, including Senator Todd Gardenhire from out in Chattanooga, who everyone might remember kind of was like the Republican all-star of this year's session, because he kept pointing this stuff out, saying like, hey, guys, this is a First Amendment violation. I don't think you should pass this. But what do we do here in Tennessee? We don't pass laws. We pass
lawsuits. Well, this new classy felony charge is punishable by up to 6 years in prison and a $3,000 fine. The law also says officials could be removed from office.
I love this idea of making something that's already illegal more illegal. Like, you already can't do it, but now you super can't do it.
Nice, super. Oh my gosh.
Anyway, so WPLN spoke to Jeff Prepty, a Metro Council member who is not included in the lawsuit because he's a former ACLU attorney and he will be trying the case. Go Jeff. He said, this legislation makes it a felony for local leaders to do the job our communities elected them to do. Local leaders shouldn't face criminal charges for passing policies that reflect the values and safety concerns of our neighbors, especially when those policies ensure trust between residents and local government. And again, to go back to that podcast with Councilmember Sepulveda, that was something she told you, Marie. Remember, she was like, I got into this job to do sidewalks and keep my district happy, and I didn't expect to be in this legal battle. And truthfully, she has not, according to what she told you, really gotten any pushback from her district, right?
Oh, yeah. No, her constituents are with her. Nicole, what are the chances that this lawsuit actually succeeds?
So, like, on legal principles, like, yeah, I mean, it's unconstitutional. Not only is it a First Amendment violation, quite clearly, but there's also this concept of legislative immunity, that you can't actually be prosecuted for something you say on the floor of your legislative body. I would say that I actually read the filing because I was interested to see how they would overcome the idea that, like, when you file a lawsuit, you have to be harmed in order to have standing to sue. So, like, something has to be happening to you or have happened to you. You can't just be like, I might do something in the future and this might do something to me in the future. So I was thinking that someone on the council would have had to, like, introduce a resolution and get charged with violating this. But they actually made a really good case for the fact that the simple existence of this law is a form of basically, like, prior restraint on the speech of council members. So they talked about how some council members have been considering a series of resolutions, but they don't know whether or not those resolutions would run afoul of the law. And they are worried about having people in the council office, like staff, work on the resolutions because that could expose them to liability. Things are wild and topsy-turvy and upside down. So who knows? And
honestly, I know a number of council members who are already like, I guess I got to get lawyered up.
Yeah, but it seems super clear and straightforward, and not just from an ideological perspective, like taking my opinion out of it. It's just silly to think that you could put a legislator in jail for, like, writing a resolution.
It's too hot to dwell on stuff. So let's just keep it moving and turn our attention to some quick hits on other local news. Construction workers and labor rights group Workers' Dignity say crews who worked on the new Pinnacle development, as well as the remodeling of the downtown Y, have not been paid for their work.
Oh, Lord.
According to Fox 17, the developers have admitted that 2 employees of a subcontractor have still not been paid for their work and that they're doing everything they can to resolve the situation. Workers' Dignity says the workers are owed less than $4,000, but this is part of a larger pattern across the county. In a separate case involving Chartwell Residential, workers say they're owed more than $33,000 for electrical and framing work across multiple projects.
Nicole, is this someplace where the city can step in and do anything at all? Obviously, these developers all over town are taking advantage of the beautiful Nashville real estate landscape to build more and more and more. Can the city do anything to protect these subcontractors?
Certainly, if there are city-funded projects or projects that happen on city-owned land, we definitely have more of an enforcement mechanism when it comes to sort of expectations for contractors and subcontractors. When you're talking about private developments, that's really like a legal matter that is sort of outside of the city's purview per se. Council members and the mayor obviously have a very large bully pulpit should they want to use it. And so they could definitely work to raise awareness. I think that there are probably some protections that could be put in place for workers, but when it comes to a private development, I think that would have to happen more at the state level. The state has kind of tied local government's hands in terms of what we can and cannot do to protect the people who live, work, and play in our areas. It's like really upsetting and disappointing.
I look forward to the state taking swift action on this. Meanwhile, tensions have somehow gotten even higher surrounding the East Bank development, Nashville's next great neighborhood, as the plan to get rid of bike lanes and other multimodal options on the forthcoming East Bank Boulevard continues to move forward against community wishes. The current plan calls for and I wrote this in the script in all capital letters, a 6-lane road to go through this allegedly family and pedestrian friendly space. But when they sent out a survey to get thoughts about that for the public, 69% of respondents took the time to write a comment. Do you know how hard it is to get 69% of people to write a comment on a survey? And they all said, no, we don't want that. Of the 881 responses, only 10 supported the larger road. Everybody else is like, but you told us there would be bike lanes. Like literally the only reason why any of us are dealing with this stadium and this Nashville's next great neighborhood nonsense is because you told us there would be bike lanes and affordable housing. We got the affordable housing. Where's our bike lanes? So there was another spicy meeting at the East Bank Development Authority on Tuesday with advocates like Walk Bike Nashville and the Civic Design Center using public comment to push back against this proposed mega road. But the East Bank Development Authority says it's not their call. It's NDOT's responsibility. Meanwhile, NDOT is saying it's the East Bank Development Authority's problem. And the mayor's office released a statement saying, quote, the mayor's office doesn't build roads, so we don't have a position other than being supportive of a public comment process that has been ongoing for weeks. Does anyone remember what Freddie O'Connell ran on one of his platforms?
I seem to recall, was he like the transit guy? Like the bike ped buses?
I mean, it occurs to me now, I think I rode with a bunch of other people on a bike through the dangerous streets of downtown to go early vote for him with him.
I just want to bang my head.
Marie, I know you were watching this meeting.
Yes. And this is so sad. I didn't see this coming. But the worst part of it all is that I actually agree with Republican State House Speaker Cameron Sexton, who sits on the East Bank Development Authority Board. Even he can't figure out who is in charge of that road. And at Tuesday's meeting, he was pretty vocal about that being a problem.
Nicole, who is in charge here?
Who's in charge?
Y'all, I've been trying to figure this out because, quite frankly, you know I love drama. You know I love confusion. And this is all of that. Because like a month ago, NDOT Director Diana Alarcon was at a public meeting of, I believe it was the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee, or maybe it was the Vision Zero Advisory Committee, one of those committees, a bunch of committees, saying actually NDOT will have to maintain the road, but the East Bank Development Authority gets to make the decision about what the road looks like. And she was very clear about that in no uncertain terms. It is not NDOT's call. Now, like a month or two later, and we're hearing the exact opposite from the head of the East Bank Development Authority.
It feels to me a little bit that
mess.
once the powers that be decided that this had to be a 6-lane highway cutting through what's supposed to be a neighborhood, all of a sudden everybody was like, I don't know.
Not my problem.
Not me.
Well, but it's also like, did the powers that be decide that it had to be a 6-lane highway? Because that's another question, because we've been told by NDOT Director Alarcon that that's actually not a decision that has been made and that these are just options. But then we have a statement in Scene reporter Eli Monica's piece from Anna Greider, who is over like the planning side of the East Bank, that essentially suggests that unless we want total and complete gridlock, we have to have 6 travel lanes. So has the decision been made? Who gets to make the decision? When are they making the decision? Who will be at the table? Where is Freddie? I do want to be fair. Like, yeah, the mayor's office does not design roads, but They're aware
Come
that
on,
this is
man.
going on. Let's get our story straight. Can we just get everybody in a room and say,
And it is okay to put your thumb on a scale.
On the scale,
somewhere.
it is.
If it
Absolutely
matches your
is.
values, your thumb has weight, you should use it.
That's sort of the whole cool thing about being an elected official is power.
Don't want it. Want no part of it.
No, thank you.
All right, Nicole, hit it.
Donna, good news.
This is my favorite part of the show. And this week, I get to talk about my snake queen, Miss Taylor Allison Swift.
Congrats.
Nicole,
Congrats,
are you
Marie.
aware that she was here? I know. I'm very excited. If this was just a Swiftie podcast, I would do that, but it's not. But Nicole, were you aware that Taylor Swift was in Nashville this week and made appearances across our town?
No, but she lives here, doesn't she?
Well,
got a
she
home
lives
here.
other. She does have home, and her musicians are here. And her
I was also in
empire-
Nashville last week.
Did you sing on stage at Brooklyn Bowl?
No, I don't even know where that is. So.
It's in Brooklyn.
Oh, well, we'll take you there sometime. But yes, so she was seen at Jason Aldean's on Monday night with her boyfriend, Travis Kelce, and then popped up on stage at the Brooklyn Bowl and sang Shake It Off. And people freaked out, especially online after watching all the videos. But she's in town because Tight End University.
Do what now?
Which is a real thing.
Tight End University. Travis Kelce.
Which I would love to apply.
Marie. Travis Kelce,
What?
Taylor's boyfriend, is a tight end in the NFL, and a tight end kind of are between a running back and a wide receiver. That for all of you, the two of you here who know nothing about sports ball. Not quite a running back, not quite a wide receiver. Kind of a mishmash of both.
Well, so I had no idea this existed, but our lovely producer, Daniel Sumstein, explained it to me this week. So it turns out that this Tight End University was founded in 2021 by NFL tight ends George Kittle, Travis Kelce, and Greg Olsen. And it's a 3-day program held at Vanderbilt University where NFL athletes participate in on-field drills, receive financial advice, and give back to the community.
Oh.
One thing to note is all proceeds from the concert that Taylor Swift sang at supported 3 charitable organizations, 87 and running the nonprofit founded by our boy, Travis Kelce. And this organization empowers underserved youth. The Hardest Yard is another organization, and that provides support for children with congenital heart disease. And a third charity selected by San Francisco 49ers tight end and Nashville resident George Kittle. So it's a fun bonding experience for these athletes, and all the money goes to a really great cause.
I did not know George Kittle lived here.
I don't know who George Kittle is.
He's San Francisco 49ers tight end.
Well, I've learned that just now. Go sports.
Well, that's all wonderful. Congrats to Taylor and the football boys. More importantly, though, Pride is this weekend, everybody. Yay! Happy Pride! Happy Pride! The parade and festival are taking place downtown. Pride Parade starts at 10 a.m. tomorrow on Lower Broadway. Marie, will you be there?
I will be walking
CityCast Nashville banner.
That's right. We're going to be marching in this year's parade with a large banner, and I have some friends joining us. If you would like to join as well, there's still some spots. Email us at nashville@citycast.fm. Join our group. We're going to have a blast. Lots of glitter.
Awesome. And tonight, the festival kicks off at Bicentennial. This year's music lineup is stacked with headliners Kim Petras, 4 Non-Blondes, hey, and Big Freedia, who is awesome, plus a few local favorites like Jake Wesley Rogers and Nashville in Harmony. Y'all, Pride has put out an open letter this year talking about how they're financially struggling because so many big corporations have decided to pull back their financial support, not just for Nashville Pride, but Pride celebrations all over the country. So if you've never been to Pride before, this is really the year to go. Even if it's too hot and you think you probably don't want to go, at least buy a ticket just to give them that financial support because they do so much in Nashville year round. It's not just about this big party. So if you have the means, throw them a bone. If you want to go, bring water, bring sunscreen. But seriously, that parade is my favorite thing every single year. People come from all across the region, all across the world to be there. Also, if you missed it, yesterday's episode was with Krista Sapan, who's one of the co-owners of the Lipstick Lounge, which is one of the United States' last remaining lesbian bars, but it's really a bar for humans. It's right here in East Nashville. Y'all go listen to that episode. It's the perfect way to get you in the right headspace.
Every day is Pride in my household.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Also, if you want to support a really awesome local bookstore, I don't know if y'all on the east side, Novelette, it's like a very safe, lovely space for queer people, people of all genders, persuasions. It's so wonderful. I only learned of it because of my dear sweet girlfriend who loves it there, and I actually love it there. It's one of the places that I will go outside of my house. The owners there, Deezy and Jordan, are incredible, and they will give you like the best book recommendations ever. So
yes.
Oh,
Jordan's amazing. Did you know that Jordan and I are friends dating back to the dog park, and that her dog Maple and my dog Wally, which is short for Stonewall, which is named after the Stonewall Inn, birthplace of the modern LGBTQ civil rights movement, they were friends as puppies. So I
did not know that.
Oh. And the last thing, Nashville Foodie Fest is happening at Plaza Mariachi this weekend. They're going to have vendors from all over the world, as well as live music, free books, and a kids' dance party. And there is, in fact, an indoor space that is air-conditioned at Plaza Mariachi. So what a wonderful alternative to the outdoor things. So if you're hot, go to Novelette, buy a book and read it. If you're hot and hungry, Plaza Mariachi. And if you want to just sweat to death with 100,000 plus of your new best friends to celebrate equality and inclusion in Tennessee, get your butts out to Pride, y'all.
Yeah.
I unfortunately will not be able to join you there because I am currently in Houston, Texas, where I will be celebrating by seeing Beyonce and the first place Houston Astros. Ha, 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 ha. Suck it, everybody. Also, I want to mention it's 20 degrees cooler in Houston than it is in Nashville right now. So I just imagine that's how hot it is.
I'm a little jealous now that you've told us that you're there and it's cooler, but that's fine. We're going to enjoy the heat and celebrate Pride and all the wonderful things that Nashville has to offer. And again, we're so grateful for Nicole for always joining us. We love you. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, everybody.
Happy Pride.
That's all for today here on CityCast Nashville. I'm your host, Marie Cecile Anderson. Our executive producer is Whitney Pasterek. Our producer is Daniel Sumstein. Our Hey Nashville newsletter editor is Margaret Kingsbury. And our theme music is by Prof Jenkins, with additional music by Tambor from Triple Scoop Music via Getty Images. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell your friends? Rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our Hey Nashville newsletter. We'll be back Monday morning with more news from around the city. Toodles!